Next week is the last full week of summer, but has it already given up? Well, the short answer to that is no, but the rest of this week is not really going to feel much like summer at all. Now, the reason for that is the jet stream. We've got quite an active jet stream at the moment moving across the Atlantic. It's brought some pretty unsettled weather so far this week, and there is more of that to come, particularly through Thursday night into Friday. A really strong area of the jet core will develop this area of low pressure, which will sweep across the UK through Thursday night and into Friday. Now, the other interesting thing to note about this area of low pressure is that it's got tropical air mixed up in it. It's just the remnants of some tropical air from earlier on in the week, but that will mean there's enhanced rainfall expected through Thursday and Friday. So pretty wet start wherever you are to come on Friday morning. That area of low pressure will move away to the east, though. Behind it, quite windy weather across northwestern areas, but it will turn much drier through the day on Friday. There will be some sunshine as well. Temperatures climbing towards 23 or 24 degrees in the south and east, but while we keep hold of that breeze across the north and west, temperatures still pretty disappointing for the time of year across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, in the low teens for some areas, but definitely a better end to the day than the start. Now, this area of rain is a result of this weather front. Now, that weather front is going to be draped along to the south of the UK through Friday evening. So a fine end to the day, fine end to the working week, but that will not be the end of the rainfall as we head into the bank holiday weekend. As I said, this weather front's draped along to the south of the UK, and it will develop some waves on it. That means that rainfall will likely return overnight on Friday and into Saturday. That's because we've still got a fairly active area of the jet stream that will develop these waves. And also where we're to the north of the jet stream, that's where it's going to stay quite unsettled as we head into Saturday. Risk of some quite heavy showers through Saturday. The nature of waves on weather fronts can be fairly uncertain, and with Saturday still being a few days away, there is some uncertainty with exactly how far north or south this front will lie overnight on Friday night. So this gives us a better picture of the uncertainty with that. This is an ensemble run. You can see the weather front here draped across the UK, and the spread of the different areas that this weather front could lie is indicated by lots of different lines on the map. So where the orange line is, that's where the mean is lying. That's where the current model is showing their deterministic run. But lots of other runs are showing just it slightly shifted north or slightly shifted south. So that rainfall could be affecting a slightly larger area of England by the time we get to Saturday morning. So it's going to be a fairly unsettled start to the bank holiday weekend, but things will improve as the weekend goes on, as this active area of the jet stream sweeps away to the east of the UK, and behind it things do turn a little bit more unsettled. Still some heavy showers to come through Saturday, a more settled, drier and calmer day more widely on Sunday, and then on Monday another area of the jet stream will develop a next area of low pressure that will bring some further wet and windy weather into the north and west, but many eastern areas, southern areas, England and Wales will remain fairly dry through Monday. The one thing to note about that, though, is after a fairly disappointing week temperature-wise, it's going to stay fairly cool through the weekend. For most of us, we've got cool air across the UK once this weather front pushes away to the south and east through Saturday morning. So some rainfall, potentially quite heavy across eastern areas of England first thing on Saturday. Once that clears out the way, though, heavy showers will likely break out across parts of England and Wales, also across the far north and west, where there's going to be quite a strong wind through Saturday. So as a result, temperatures still pretty disappointing across western areas of Scotland and Northern Ireland, and as I said, some potentially quite heavy and possibly thundery showers here as well. Further south across England and Wales, it will still feel fairly warm in the sunshine. Temperatures still climbing into the low 20s, but for most of us will be in the high teens. Those showers should tend to fade away through Saturday evening, and that leads us into a more settled day on Sunday. It's not going to be entirely dry. There's still a risk of some showers across particularly Northern Ireland and western areas of Scotland, as well as some areas of Wales, but I think many areas of England and Wales should stay fairly dry. Even eastern areas of Scotland, eastern areas of Northern England as well, staying largely dry through Sunday, and it will feel fairly warm in the sunshine as well. Temperatures climbing into the low 20s, but when we get more frequent showers in the north and west, still a pretty autumnal feeling weekend to come. Now, Monday is that when we see that next area of low pressure. It's only really going to affect parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland, though. Actually, across more southern areas, much of England and Wales, it should stay dry through much of Monday, and it will feel, again, fairly warm in the sunshine. Winds will be relatively light, particularly across eastern areas, but it will turn wetter and windier from the north and west as the day goes on through Monday. So a few changes to come throughout this bank holiday weekend. However, this frontal system that pushes into parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland is not going to make much progress throughout the rest of next week, as next week is looking much drier and more settled than this week. This is the most likely pressure pattern for Tuesday, the 27th of August. You see, we've got low pressure centred up to the north and west of the UK, high pressure centred over Scandinavia and across a lot of Europe as well. And that's going to bring more settled weather, an influence of settled weather to eastern and southern areas of the UK. So it'll mean that any weather fronts that come into the northwest will likely bump into this higher pressure and be stopped where they are. And so by the time we get to Friday, the end of that week, it's not Friday the 23rd of August, we will see low pressure still centred up to the north and west of the UK, high pressure likely dominating a bit more widely across the UK. So that leads us into the very end of summer, which means that we could start to see some warmer air moving up from the south and east. We could also see some Atlantic air coming up from the south and west. So that does mean it looks quite a lot warmer than this week, next week. So it's some improvements to come before summer is out. And you can see that on the most likely regimes across the UK on the decider plot here. So blues denote low pressure in charge, reds denote higher pressure in charge. Now the shade of red we've got here that becomes more dominant from around Tuesday the 27th of August until around Friday the 30th of August, then we start to see some other reds move in. But this shade of red is typically a Scandinavian high, so that's that high pressure situated over parts of Scandinavia, which means that we could see some more southerly wind directions picking up some warmer air for the week. And then we start to see more of a blocked pattern, which just means that things won't move around too much, lasting into the first week of September most likely. So throughout next week, and in fact the following week, the first week of autumn, it's actually looking much more settled across the UK, but particularly across southern and eastern areas of the UK. Now, these show the most likely the temperature trend across a couple of regions in the UK. We've got Reading on the bottom and Belfast on the top. And there's a clear trend in both Reading and Belfast, just a few places across the UK, that after this fairly cool week, temperatures will likely rise from at least the start or middle part of next week to above average. And that's the trend both across Reading and also Belfast. As you can see here, temperatures don't rise quite as much for more north and western areas, just as we will be closer to that higher pressure. It's still likely to stay fairly wet here, but things will get much warmer compared to this week. I think we could see temperatures warmer than average. There is just a chance of seeing temperatures hotter than average as well, but only really in southern areas. That's if we do tap into that more continental air towards the end of the last week of August. So the theme for next week is that it will be a warmer week. It's going to be a drier and calmer week than this week. It doesn't mean it will be entirely dry. There's still some weather fronts lingering out to the north and west, so rain will be most frequent across northwestern areas. Some of that could push south and east, bringing some rainfall to southeastern areas, but that high pressure is going to do its job to try and keep them at bay for as long as possible. As I said, though, there is still some fairly unsettled weather to come through the end of this week, so it's really important to stay tuned to the forecast, and you can do that by subscribing to our YouTube channel. See you again soon. Bye.